finding a way to break free. As the two strangers woke up in the dimly lit basement, their eyes slowly adjusted to the eerie surroundings. The cold, damp air sent shivers down their spines, and the sight of the lifeless body in the center of the room only added to their growing sense of unease. With their ankles chained to the walls, they realized they were trapped, their freedom stripped away without any explanation. Fear and confusion gripped the strangers as they tried to make sense of their predicament. They examined their chains, feeling the weight of their captivity. The metal links were sturdy, and their attempts to break free with sheer force proved futile. It became clear that escaping would require a more strategic approach. With their immediate surroundings offering no obvious means of escape, the strangers began to search the basement for any objects that could aid them in their quest for freedom. They scoured every corner, their eyes scanning the room for anything that could be of use. The dim light revealed a collection of discarded items scattered across the floor. Among the debris, they discovered a rusted crowbar, a broken glass bottle, and a small set of tools. Although the objects seemed insignificant at first glance, the strangers realized that they might hold the key to their liberation. They carefully examined each item, considering their potential uses and how they could be utilized to break free from their chains. With the tools in hand, the strangers began to devise a plan. They knew that breaking the chains alone would not guarantee their escape. They needed to find a way to disable the mechanism that kept the basement locked, preventing anyone from leaving. They understood that their freedom relied on their ability to outsmart their captor. They decided to focus their efforts on disabling the lock mechanism. One of them would work on breaking the chains while the other would search for any hidden clues or mechanisms that could lead to their escape. They knew that time was of the essence, and they had to work together swiftly and efficiently. The strangers carefully tested the tools they had found, ensuring they were in working order. The crowbar proved to be sturdy, capable of exerting enough force to potentially break the chains. The glass bottle, although broken, could be used as a makeshift weapon if necessary. The small set of tools included a screwdriver, pliers, and a wire cutter, which could be used to dismantle any hidden mechanisms. They took turns attempting to break the chains, using the crowbar to apply pressure and force. The metal groaned under the strain, but the chains held firm. Frustration threatened to overwhelm them, but they refused to give up. They knew that their only chance of escape lay in their determination and resourcefulness. While one of them continued to work on breaking the chains, the other began to explore the basement more thoroughly. They examined the walls, searching for any hidden compartments or switches that could potentially unlock the door. Every nook and cranny was scrutinized, their fingers tracing along the cold, damp surfaces. As they moved deeper into the basement, they noticed a faint draft coming from a crack in the wall. Curiosity piqued, they investigated further, discovering a hidden passage behind a loose brick. The passage led to a small room, where they found a control panel with various buttons and switches. It seemed to be the key to their escape. The strangers studied the control panel, trying to decipher its purpose. The buttons were labeled with cryptic symbols, and the switches seemed to control different aspects of the basement's security system. They realized that understanding the panel's functions was crucial to their escape. They carefully pressed each button, observing the changes in the basement. Some buttons triggered alarms, while others seemed to disable certain security measures. Through trial and error, they began to piece together the puzzle, understanding the patterns and functions of the control panel. With their combined efforts, the strangers finally managed to break free from their chains. The feeling of liberation washed over them, filling them with renewed hope and determination. They knew that their journey was far from over, but breaking free from their physical restraints was a significant milestone. As they stood side by side, ready to face the challenges that lay ahead, they realized that their bond had grown stronger through their shared struggle. They had overcome the initial obstacle together, and they were prepared to face whatever awaited them outside the confines of the basement. With newfound confidence, they moved forward, ready to confront the unknown and unravel the mysteries that had brought them together, in this strange and dangerous place. Their journey towards freedom had only just begun, and they were determined to find the answers they sought and bring an end to their harrowing work. Utilizing the found tools. As the two strangers examined their surroundings, they noticed a glimmer of hope amidst the darkness. On a nearby table, they found a collection of tools that could potentially aid in their escape. With a renewed sense of determination, they began to brainstorm ways to utilize these found tools to break free from their chains and unravel the mystery that had brought them together in this grim basement. The first step for the strangers was to carefully examine each tool and understand its potential uses. Among the items on the table were a set of lockpicks, a small saw, a screwdriver, a flashlight, and a length of rope. Each tool held the promise of freedom, but they needed to devise a plan that would maximize their effectiveness. With the tools in hand, the strangers began to brainstorm various escape plans. They knew that time was of the essence, as they had no idea when their captor would return or what awaited them beyond the confines of the basement. They decided to focus on three key areas: unlocking their chains, finding a way to break through the basement door, and gathering any additional information that could aid in their escape. The lockpicks seemed like the obvious choice for unlocking their chains. However, neither of the strangers had any experience with lockpicking. Undeterred, they decided to give it a try. They carefully inserted the thin metal tools into the locks and began to manipulate the tumblers, hoping to find the right combination that would release them from their restraints. It was a painstaking process, but their determination pushed them forward. While working on unlocking their chains, the strangers also turned their attention to the basement door. It was a sturdy wooden door with a heavy lock. They knew that brute force alone wouldn't be enough to break through it. They decided to use the small saw to weaken the door's hinges, hoping that it would eventually give way under their combined strength. It was a slow and arduous process, but they remained focused on their goal. As they worked on their escape plan, the strangers realized that they needed more information to fully understand their situation. They searched the basement for any clues that could shed light on why they were there and who their captor might be. They discovered a hidden compartment in the wall, containing a journal filled with cryptic entries. The strangers carefully deciphered the messages, piecing together fragments of a larger puzzle. The flashlight proved to be an invaluable tool in their quest for answers. It allowed them to explore the dark corners of the basement and uncover hidden clues. They used it to examine the corpse more closely, hoping to find any identifying marks or evidence that could lead them to the truth. The flashlight also helped them navigate through the basement, illuminating their path as they searched for additional tools or escape routes. The screwdriver, although seemingly ordinary, played a crucial role in their escape plan. They used it to remove the screws from the ventilation grate, creating a small opening that could potentially serve as an escape route. It was a risky move, as they didn't know what awaited them on the other side, but they were willing to take the chance in their pursuit of freedom. The length of rope they found proved to be a versatile tool. They used it to fashion makeshift handles for the lockpicks, providing better grip and control as they worked on unlocking their chains. The rope also served as a lifeline, allowing them to secure themselves to sturdy objects in case they needed to explore areas of the basement that were potentially dangerous or unstable. As the strangers continued to utilize the found tools, they encountered numerous challenges along the way. The lockpicking process was slow and required immense patience. Breaking through the basement door proved to be physically demanding, pushing their strength and endurance to the limit. Deciphering the cryptic messages in the journal tested their problem-solving skills. However, they refused to give up, relying on their resourcefulness and determination to overcome each obstacle. With each passing day, the strangers made progress in their escape plan. They grew more adept at using the tools at their disposal, honing their skills, and finding new ways to overcome the challenges they faced. The bond between them strengthened as they worked together, supporting and encouraging one another through the darkest moments. They knew that their freedom was within reach, and they were willing to do whatever it took to achieve it. After days of tireless effort, the strangers finally managed to unlock their chains and break through the basement door. As they stepped out into the unknown, they were filled with a mix of relief and anticipation. The tools they had utilized had served their purpose, but their journey was far from over. They still had to confront the truth behind their captivity and seek justice for the man whose life had been taken. With newfound determination, they set forth on the path that would lead them to closure and redemption. Overcoming physical limitations. As the two strangers surveyed their surroundings, they realized that their physical limitations were going to be a significant obstacle in their quest for freedom. Chained to the walls by their ankles, they were unable to move freely or explore the basement with ease. However, they were determined to overcome these limitations and find a way to break free. The chains that bound them to the walls were tight and unforgiving. Every movement they made was met with resistance, causing pain and discomfort. They quickly realized that brute force alone would not be enough to break free from their restraints. They needed a plan, a strategy to overcome their physical limitations. With limited mobility, the strangers had to rely on their resourcefulness to find a way to overcome their physical limitations. They began to search the basement for any objects that could potentially aid them in their escape. Despite their restricted movement, they managed to find a few items that could be repurposed as tools. Using a broken piece of wood and a sharp shard of glass, they fashioned makeshift keys to unlock their ankle restraints. It was a painstaking process, as they had to work slowly and carefully to avoid injuring themselves further. But their determination and ingenuity paid off, and one by one, they were able to free themselves from the chains that had held them captive. Although they had managed to break free from their physical restraints, the strangers soon realized that their bodies were weak and unconditioned. Months, or perhaps even years, of being confined in the basement had taken a toll on their physical strength. They knew that they would need to regain their strength if they were to navigate the challenges that lay ahead. With limited resources, they devised a simple exercise routine to gradually build up their strength. Push-ups, squats, and planks became a part of their daily routine, allowing them to slowly but steadily regain their physical capabilities. They pushed themselves to their limits, determined to overcome their physical limitations and prepare themselves for the unknown dangers that awaited them outside the basement walls. As they continued to work on their physical fitness, the strangers realized that they needed to adapt to their surroundings and collaborate with each other to overcome their physical limitations. They devised a system of communication using hand signals and gestures, allowing them to coordinate their movements and work together effectively. They practiced navigating through the confined space of the basement, honing their agility and flexibility. They learned to crawl, squeeze through narrow gaps, and climb over obstacles. Each small victory over their physical limitations brought them closer to their ultimate goal of escaping the basement. Overcoming physical limitations was not just about building strength and agility. It also required mental fortitude and endurance. The strangers faced moments of frustration, pain, and exhaustion, but they refused to give up. They encouraged each other, reminding themselves of the importance of their freedom and the need to persevere. They practiced mindfulness and meditation, finding solace in moments of stillness and quiet reflection. They focused on maintaining a positive mindset, even in the face of adversity. By strengthening their mental resilience, they were able to push through physical challenges and continue their journey towards freedom. As they progressed in their physical training, the strangers realized that adaptability was key to overcoming their limitations. They learned to think outside the box, finding creative solutions to the obstacles they encountered. They adapted their movements to suit their physical capabilities, finding alternative routes and strategies to navigate through the challenges they faced. By embracing adaptability, they were able to overcome physical limitations that initially seemed insurmountable. They discovered hidden strengths within themselves and pushed beyond their perceived boundaries. With each small victory, their confidence grew, propelling them forward on their path to freedom. In their journey to escape the chains that bound them, the The strangers not only overcame their physical limitations, but also discovered the resilience and strength that lay within themselves. Their determination, resourcefulness, and adaptability became their greatest assets as they faced the unknown. And as they continued to push forward, they knew that they were one step closer to achieving their ultimate goal: freedom. Achieving freedom. As the two strangers stood there, chained to the walls of the basement, they knew that their only hope was to find a way to break free and escape the clutches of their unknown captor. The realization that their lives depended on their ability to achieve freedom fueled their determination and resolve. In their desperate situation, the strangers understood that they needed to work together if they were to have any chance of escaping. They knew that their individual strengths and skills would be amplified when combined, and so they began to devise a plan. They started by sharing their observations and ideas. One of them noticed a loose brick in the wall, while the other discovered a small key hidden beneath the quartz. They quickly realized that these could be the key to their freedom. With the key in hand, they carefully inserted it into the lock of their shackles. The sound of the lock clicking open was music to their ears. As they removed the chains from their ankles, a surge of relief washed over them. They were one step closer to freedom. Now free from their physical restraints, the strangers turned their attention to the locked door that stood between them and the outside world. They knew that breaking through this barrier would be no easy task, but they were determined to overcome any obstacle in their path. They searched the room for any tools or objects that could aid them in their escape. They found a crowbar hidden behind a stack of crates and a hammer tucked away in a toolbox. Armed with these makeshift weapons, they began to chip away at the door, piece by piece. After what felt like an eternity of relentless effort, the door finally gave way. The strangers stepped out into the unknown, their hearts pounding with a mix of fear and excitement. They had achieved their freedom, but their journey was far from over. As they ventured further into the unknown, they realized that they were not alone. Others who had been trapped in the same basement were also making their way to freedom. The strangers joined forces with their newfound companions, forming a bond forged in the crucible of their shared experience. Together, they navigated through the challenges that lay ahead, supporting and encouraging one another every step of the way. They faced dangers, encountered unexpected obstacles, and confronted their deepest fears. But through it all, their determination to reclaim their lives and find justice remained unwavering. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, they emerged from the darkness into the light. They had escaped the chains that had bound them, both physically and emotionally. The weight of their past had been lifted, and they were ready to embrace a new beginning. As they stood there, basking in the warmth of the sun, they knew that their journey was not just about achieving freedom from their captor. It was about finding closure and redemption for themselves and for the others who had suffered alongside them. They vowed to confront the culprit, to seek justice for the crimes committed against them, and to find inner peace in the process. They understood that moving forward would not be easy, but they were determined to rebuild their lives and create a future filled with hope and possibility. And so, hand in hand, they took their first steps towards closure and redemption, leaving behind the chains that had once bound them and embracing the freedom that was rightfully theirs.